Appreciate you hitting the
Of
button. Welcome to
course.
the How to Hustle podcast with Hype. This is episode 156. You follow me on Instagram and Twitter at I am Hype. That's HYMPE. It's Hype. It's not hype. I'm not geeked up. This is my sister again. So if you slide in these DMs, we got issues. Reintroduce yourself to the audience, bro.
I am Sherell or Real Estate Rel or founder of Maximum Impact, which we'll get into.
My bad. I should have brought this up off mic. My man asked me about some real estate situation. I got to
You
text you.
know
Get
what?
your phone number. But anyway, y'all know this is the autism series again. That is my daughter in the background, full time dad. If you heard that, episode 4 of the autism series, part 4, excuse me, of the autism series. I tell people all the time, if you see me with the wristband, the one that I don't own is my niece. Uh, and this is my sister right here who had my niece. So we are about to go through the story here with Rel. Now, Rel, we talking autism. This is full disclosure. I told somebody this the other night. GFT Radio Network. Shouts out to the gang. We did autism episode, and I told them the reason that my interest was piqued with this was my sister. We had our
Hmm.
kids back to back months. My daughter was June. Her daughter was May, and just at those times of 2020, it was just I can't physically be there, but just text messages, phone calls, and it's like, so you doing what now? And what's going on? And you went to how many doctor's appointments? And
Yes.
me not having any type of understanding, it was like, well, maybe if we did a series on the podcast, you understand better. That's how we got here. um, so now, Rel, floor is yours. You give us the story.
Oh God. So first off, mom intuition kicked in when I brought my baby home from the hospital. Let's say that. So I knew sensory wise, when we talking sensory, obviously we talking about what input we get from everywhere we get senses from our eyes, our ears, what we touch, what we can taste. With her, those things were like on 5,000. A typical person, it was like 100. So if I would ball up a bag, she would cry for hours. So I'm talking about like over 4 hours, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. Go to the hospital. They don't know why she's still crying. She couldn't be driven in a car to be calmed down. You know, most people take their baby for a walk in a stroller, drive them for a little ride, and they'll go to sleep. She would cry. I would have to bring a white noise machine in the car with batteries so that she could tolerate a car ride somewhere. All of those things to me were not normal. I knew that that wasn't normal. And every other month or so, she would get like a new diagnosis, a new problem, gastro, stuff going on with her digestive system. She had like her first seizure when she was 10 months old. All these things was like, what is this? Like, why is so many things happening? And I was staying on doctors like, what the heck is this? And they were just like, oh, it might just be like, she's colicky. That's what everybody called her. She's colicky. Or, some babies have reflux. They gave her medicine at like 2 weeks old. She had a feeding therapist, all these things at 2 weeks old. And I stayed on them because they would just be like, no, they would minimize it, which is very common for Black families to experience in healthcare, medical gaslighting. That's not what you're experiencing. What you're saying isn't what's actually happening. When we know this is what I'm seeing with my own eyes.
Oh yeah, you
And that's
remember when I
kind of
had
what
the thing
happened.
on my damn leg and they wouldn't tell me what that was, and they kept telling
Like,
me, I just don't know what it is. All right, so you was the
yeah,
specialist. But
which
go
is
ahead. That
crazy.
sounds like another episode. Go ahead.
Very typical. Write that down. You should have post-its nearby. Your ideas come. But it was it was definitely stuff that was coming up, and I was like, I wasn't letting them tell me no, it's not. So I would say I'll play your game, but eventually you're gonna play mine too, and we're gonna get to the bottom of what's going on. And when we got to the bottom of it, they thought it was just like sensory processing disorder, where she couldn't integrate what was coming into her senses. But it wasn't just that, because we worked on occupational therapy for a while to see if it was just that issue by itself. And once we found out it wasn't just that, and they started doing evaluations, we realized it was autism. And that was right before she was 2 years old. So probably like 18 months or so.
So
That's
you
when she
said the
got the
first
diagnosis.
signs that you get is on the way home, and those COVID days on the way home might be like day 2 or 3 of child after childbirth.
Yes.
So you instantly recognize that, all right, something ain't right here. What was
Let
the
me tell you
thing
my
that?
comparison. My comparison, I only had one child before this. So I had one child who nothing, she had no medical issues. The only thing she has is she's allergic to melons, every melon. But other than that, nothing. So that, and I have over 30 something nieces and nephews and great nieces and nephews. And I worked with kids before. So that's what I was comparing her behavior to. Like, okay, I've seen kids enough to know that this ain't typical.
This is the one thing I like to commend the parents on. If you don't wait too long, like you said, this is probably not even a week, and you're like, okay, something's up, because
Yes.
everybody thinks that their kid is so special. Everybody wants to tell you about like, oh, she was holding the bottle at 3 days, and not like it's not cute if it's not my kid, or if I wasn't
Yeah.
there. If I was there, like, oh damn, that's crazy. But the picture doesn't really do it for you. The video didn't really do it for you. You wasn't there. But
Yeah.
the thing there that you're saying is, like I said, the recognizing that something is up and acting on it, not having too much pride for yourself because you're not protecting a 4-day-old baby by not handling something or not recognizing that something isn't right. You're protecting
That's
yourself,
real.
and like you said, the mother's intuition kicks in on that situation. That's just being aware and understanding that this ain't about me and it's about you. So,
Hmm.
salute to you for that one. Um, so you're saying though too, having two daughters. I wasn't gonna bring up your personal, but you brought it up. Um,
Yes.
how did she help with this situation? Because like in the beginning, like you said in the beginning, I got, oh my God, what the hell's going on there? Y'all giving me medicine at 2 weeks. Again,
Yes.
this is the shutdown. So this is a totally different situation. This is a totally different birth. This is like I can't even
Yes.
really call and tell nobody. Like I can probably get my mom. But other than that, like, I don't know,
Yep.
my cousins be like you said, there's a lot of them niggas. And I know
Yep.
somebody went to Miami for $15 or
Yes.
to Vegas for 35. So
Yes.
like, no, you can't come over and see the baby and none of that. So
Yes.
how big of a help was she with that situation? Because like you said, you recognize it so soon. How big of a help was she with her little sister?
Yes. So, and I'll add to the Pandora's box because you so real. You won't add what I don't want to add if I don't do it. So I was divorced, and Islamic divorces kick in. If you're pregnant during this time that you're trying to seek divorce, it doesn't take hold until after you give birth. Like the minute you give birth, that's when it takes hold. So I technically didn't have a mate either. So he wasn't there with me. So all I had really was in the circumstance, like you said, I had my mom and my oldest daughter. So how old? She might have been like 11 at the time because she's 15 now. So she was flabbergasted along with me. So she was
Because you brought all of
terrified
that up,
along
so I
with me.
wasn't I wasn't gonna say nothing about all of that. I was going to the hospital with her to have the baby, and my wife was pregnant. So when I tell
Yeah,
people this is my sister, I mean
yes,
I'm showing up at your crib if something's up. This is my sister. But
yeah,
go
yeah.
ahead.
And
You said she's
I put
11.
him I put Jihad in my advance directive because I so didn't trust the healthcare system with me as a black mother because of black maternal mortality, where we die more and our kids die more and they don't help us more. In case something happened to me, he was the one in my documents where I would say, if something happens, ask him what should be done. So that's how serious it was. But she was flabbergasted along with me at all of these things we never saw before, really. But she was always willing. I mean, just always willing to be there. But it was a balance for me and a struggle, and it still is to this day. I don't want her to become a parent child. I don't want her to feel like she's responsible for taking a burden off of me. Or
Damn.
I
Oh,
don't want her doing that. I don't
hold
want
up.
that.
A parent child.
That's what
Oh
that's
man.
called. In psychology, that's what that's called. Where you take
Ooh.
on the role as a parent, but you're the child and you miss everything you're supposed to have as a child in your childhood. I don't want that happening. I don't want that to creep in and happen to her. So yeah.
Oh
So it's hard
man.
to accept help. It was hard to accept help, and it's hard to accept help from her today because I want her to have a childhood, not looking back like, dang, most of my child these years I don't remember because we worried about when Illy gonna have a seizure. Like I don't want that to be her life, her story.
Wow. Excuse me.
Are you connecting with the parent child? What's
Episode 155, shouts out the star. That was can you heal the hurt out of somebody?
oh
um we was having a conversation. We said you can't put kids in adult situations and expect them to still act like a
Mm,
kid.
hmm.
And parent child was
That's a
wow.
that's a
We
psychology
might
term.
that sounds like another episode right there.
Yes.
Um, all right, so damn, my bad. You killed me with that one. That was great. So you said though now you don't want her, she was always willing to help with all of these different
Yes.
situations because I'm imagining even at 11, she's looking and like she's got 1,000 cousins and such,
Yes. Yes.
and it's like, well, this didn't really happen at week 2 or week 3 because in the beginning you'd be like, they sneeze, and that's like the biggest thing,
Yes.
or like, damn, they got the runs, or that
Yes.
like it's only week 2. So for
Hmm.
her to sit there and see like, well, mommy has to keep doing dot 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 with the baby, and
Yeah.
it's already I'm trying to process what the whole baby situation is because I was the only child for all these years. Now you came in here with
Yes.
this
For
baby.
11 years, she was by herself.
Yeah, now you got this whole little baby, and now you need all the attention. I'm
Mm.
trying to spin in a circle to get a little attention, but oh wait, you just had a seizure. So now
Yes.
it gets real, and I'm 11 and trying to process that.
Mm.
So even that portion of it, let's talk a little bit about that. How was that trying to balance like explaining what's going on to the oldest and still dealing with the youngest? And again, we talking about week 2 of this
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah. So how it was difficult. It's difficult to this day, like I said, because I'm still trying to do that because these are critical years for her. She turned 16 December 10th. So these are critical. This is critical time. So and that
Oh
was
yeah, she about to hit up prom.
yeah, and that was like
S-
in puberty at that age. So these are critical times where she need attention. She needs certain things. And I'm just like trying to balance because this is a uncharted territory for me. Like for instance,
mhm,
I have never been a parent to two kids before. So I'm still learning. So
mhm,
I'm learning while I'm trying to take care of her needs. So it was really like a take it by each day. Like if she want friends to come over, if she wanted to go this place with her friend and her friend's mom or something, like I let her continue to build her childhood. And when those moments came up, I would handle it in that moment. If you focus on, oh my God, when this happened, I'm gonna have to do this, you're gonna lose your mind. You have to take it as it's coming. You have to, because beside the fact of you can't account for every variable in every situation. Like I knew stuff was happening with my youngest, her stomach and stuff like that, but I couldn't account for it. Okay, one day in the future, when she has a seizure, we're going to do this. Or one day in the future, when she chokes, because she got a choking disorder, when she chokes and we got to call 911 and the neighbors don't answer us, they talk to us through the door and don't call help, we're going to do this. But we had to take those moments when those moments came.
So when
So
you
that's
even
how
through
I
the seizure
approached it.
situation, I've been there
Mm-hmm.
with the seizure. My daughter, my oldest daughter, was a couple of months old. I don't even remember how old at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, in my arms in Outback, having a seizure. This dude sitting next to me looks at me and says, "Man, she don't look too good." I'm like, "No, she was sleeping in the car. She all right." I look at her, her eyes is back here some damn where, and I look at my wife, and I say, "We gotta go. We gotta get
Mm-hmm.
to the car." We instantly just Google it. It's a hospital around the corner. Call the ambulance. Happens to be riding up the damn street. They come get her. We jump in the back of the car. Her cousin is in a complete panic, and we like, hey, look, gotta get it together. You take the keys. You drive the car. We're getting in the ambulance. Follow us. We get there, they take her back, and then we go like, oh, something just like, what was that just happened? And her cousin is like, how did y'all just do that that fast? Is like, because we didn't know what the hell was happening the same way you ain't know what the hell was happening. But if we panic, she's a couple of months old. So if we go into a panic, then she's in a panic, and now we could be planning a janaza in 2 days. Like, so something that I
Yeah.
want to ask you about. Um, like I said, we just did another episode on autism talking to shouts out to my man Tony the promoter, shouts out to Dame, shouts out to Sonny. All of those people was the people on part ones, two, and three.
Mm-hmm.
Uh they said one of the hardest things to get is family to help with the child or understanding what's going on or like those different behavioral tics. Like when we was at the park situation when she wanted to jump in the water, telling me about she wants the water. I'm like, girl, that
Yes.
stuff is green. You might catch something getting in that. That's not water,
Besides
okay?
drowning
Yeah, besides that we can't swim because I can't swim or save you. So hopefully it ain't too
and me
deep.
either.
but That stuff green. That ain't water. It's a liquid like
Yes.
substance. But
Yes.
do you find that that is the case with your situation? That it's hard to get your family to understand, to help, or to even try to engage at all with your situation?
Okay. So
I
the
know that
answer
was a
is
lot.
yes. The answer is yes. Um, because every individual, whether they're your family or not, comes with their own set of values and what they believe and conspiracies that they hold, and everybody's like that. And I come across people all the time, including in my family, who are like, ain't nothing wrong with her. Well, the point is, we're not saying something's wrong with her, we're saying something's different with her. So, and how I feel, I don't know about anybody else, but how I feel is that is disrespectful of my child's reality. That's disrespectful of my family's reality that we're actually living. They're saying that what we're experiencing, we're being dramatic and it's not real. That's crazy business because it's clearly real. It's literally a brain difference. So I absolutely do not, I can't tell you why I think I don't receive help, but I can tell you what I speculate. I assume that some people think this is just regular motherhood and I dealt with it. So, I mean, why should I come like save you kind of thing? Some people view things that way. Other people are like, they see the type of considerations they have to give. Like you have to make sure you have her headphones, make sure she's not eloping somewhere or whatever the case is. And they don't want to have that on them. So it's that. It's also, it might not have anything to do with us, but everything to do with they just don't want to. People just don't want to do certain things. And some people just don't help with babysitting or be like really being an active part of the village. Some people just don't want to. So that's just what I speculate. But I do think it's two D's that the Black community struggle with as it relates to autism, and that's like disrespect and denial when it comes to autism. So, for one, disrespecting autism's reality, that it's a reality, it's a real thing. And also, in a sense of disrespect, like people like to use disability labels as like fighting words. Like they'll use the R word to describe somebody to cut them because being having this disability is looked at as bad. So if I say that you're this, then you'll know that I'm trying to make you feel less than. That's too rampant in the Black community. And denial, we tend to deny that there's anything going on. Like, oh, they just hyper, or they had too much sugar, or this is what everybody does, or ain't nothing going on with them. That's so rampant.
So you brought it back to where I wanted to go to. One thing, like I said, all of the people that I've had on here, are people that I know,
Mm-hmm,
and knowing a bit about these situations. Yours, I know all your situation, but
mm-hmm,
um, the thing that I hate is why I always say like a highlight when I ask, give me the story and tell me when is it that y'all did something about, hey, I think
mm,
something's wrong or you noticed it or whatever. And that's the one thing I never understand that people do is like everybody's kid isn't special. If everybody's kid is special, then nobody's special. Like
mm-hmm,
something can be wrong with you the same way something can be wrong with your child.
mm-hmm,
That's perfectly fine, but being too proud or
mm,
you don't want to know what it really is. And if you don't really want to know what it is, then it gets
mm.
worse the longer you wait.
Some
If
people are just avoidant, period. Not even
but if
just
you
with their
continue to
kids.
that's like if me and you having a problem and we continue to avoid having a conversation about it, it just festers and becomes a bigger problem.
Mm-hmm.
If we do something about any diagnosis, if it's a cold. We ain't even got to get to nothing crazy. If we
Yep.
diagnose that, like, man, I'm got a little twinge in my throat, then you need to
Yeah.
start taking some medicine then. Not, I'm going to
Yes.
wait 6 months or 3 years and see if I can wait this thing out. Maybe this lump will grow, get off my
Yes.
arm if I just pray on it. Like, you
Yes.
got to actually, yeah, you're supposed to pray on it, but you're supposed to actually still do something about it.
Yes.
Like, things don't just happen that way. Something else that we talk about, like the family situations. We was having that conversation, I was like, one thing about these things is nobody's obligated. The
Yeah.
thing that the parent usually just might need is like if you've been dealing with like Sonny said, like if she's riding with her son and they going past McDonald's, he's blacking because he wants these fries. Any of those different type of situations, today just might not be the day as the parent because you've been dealing with this because this is your child and
Mhm.
You decided to have sex and have these kids, and that's just what what happens. So regardless of what your situation is with your kids, they're yours. Sometimes it'd be like they might just need 10 minutes. I might just need to
Mhm.
go to the bathroom and just close the door and sit in silence in the dark. And that might be all I need. I might just need
Mhm.
to scroll on Instagram for 20 minutes. Whatever that situation might be, anything that you can do to help that situation, like try to help. You don't even have to understand exactly what's going on, but you do understand that, like, all right, it's different when I go to my cousin's house or my aunt's house or whoever the person is that you will be dealing with in this situation. And I know if it was like, damn, when I was only there for 2 hours, I can imagine what it's like on Tuesday at 3 or 4 or 5 or what the
Mhm.
AM or what the hell, like whatever the situation can be.
Mhm.
But people just so damn everybody is so important to themselves that they don't even think about what's going on with the next person. I
Self-centered, like
text
people
you,
censor themselves.
yeah, I text you like, what's wrong? You like nothing. So what's wrong? Because I know something wrong. You like, well, people usually still be checking on you this late. All right, that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. Like, just because people do stuff, they ain't got nothing to
Yes.
do with me. Like,
Hmm.
don't I hate when people put you in them same boxes because everybody else is
Yeah.
over there. I ain't got nothing to do with that.
Yeah. But I
So go go ahead,
no, I
go
was
ahead.
just gonna say, um, I have a different outlook on what families do. So s- like a lot of people think because obviously where we live in America, a very
Wait,
individualist
what? Hold
society.
up. Are we talking about what families do or what families should, like what was families
We're,
supposed to do?
well,
Because those are two different
I have a
things.
difference. I have a different idea of what I believe that families are supposed to do,
Copy that. Go ahead.
given who says it. So, and I'm not going to make your podcast religious, but I'm just saying
I mean, we cool here. We both
from
listen.
my
We
view.
we both took Shahada. Everybody understand that. If you watching the
So
video, E Block Radio Network every Monday 2 o'clock. Shouts out to the man Q.
yes, but my whole thing is our general society is individualist focused, meaning just me, my personal glow up, my focus, whatever. They're very centering themselves. Whereas what we are a part of, how we live our lifestyle, and just it aligns with me personally. Whether I can't really take Islam out of it, but if I could separate
Don't try
Islam
to. Don't try
Islam and
to.
myself, it merges where I am a collectivist thinking person. That's why I think when I see a problem in my community, it's on me too to do something about it because I think collectively. I don't think in an individualist way. So I do not believe that when I don't feel like it, I can't be there for my family because I'm a part of a collective. And even if I don't feel
Copy.
like it, I might sacrifice to a degree. You don't sacrifice to the point of harm of yourself or giving up things that you can't get back. But you absolutely have an obligation to add to the pot. And that is how we view the community Islamically. Just like is everybody talking about it a lot with Palestine, right? With when one part of your body hurts, the whole body hurts. The whole body is affected. I believe I've lived my life that way. So I do not believe I don't subscribe to people or have people around me who believe everything is just about what they do individually and they're not supposed to contribute collectively. I don't keep like people like that around me because I know I'm not going to function like that with them because that's going to leave me giving them a lot and me resentful because they're not giving the same thing back
Yeah, you pouring into them and you ain't receiving nothing back. Yeah,
because they got an
that's when.
individualist view and I'm collectivist. That don't
Yeah,
match.
see, that's when I tell people all the time we can using each other is perfectly fine as long as we're using each
Misuse
other.
it
But if
and not
I'm
misusing each
constantly
other.
yeah, if I'm constantly pouring into you and it's like, well, damn, I need a little bit of this same thing, and it's like, well, now I ain't have time because my son's thirsty, my
Like
daughter
really?
fell, and whatever. Like, so I wholeheartedly agree with you there. That's why I said we talking should or what reality is because
Yeah,
reality
and
is
people
this
people
thing
do
is so
believe that they
backwards
don't
and
have
messed
to.
up. This thing's so backward and messed up out here. It's like you can't think straight. And people look at you for saying 1 + 1 is 2, and they're like, ah, well, the new math tells you it's 87.
Listen, go in them comments and everybody is like, ain't nobody tell you to get pregnant. Ain't nobody tell you. Well, you should have. That's not reality. Like, can we stop? Just stop. Like they go to victim. They call it victim blaming, obviously, but it's I just think that people are so unrealistic and so self-centered. They can't think any other way. And I don't think like that. I don't subscribe to them kind of people. I just don't.
what would you say the biggest like hurdle has been dealing with your daughter having autism?
The biggest hurdle within or like in the community, I'll say both. Well, the biggest hurdle community wise, like out in the world, has been um creating equity for my daughter. So I'll explain. So a lot of people get equity and equality mixed up. Obviously, people think equality is everybody deserves the exact same thing. That's how they view feminism and all that. I don't believe that. But I don't want the same thing men. I don't. I'm not built the way a man is built. So I don't want the same. I don't want to be given the exact same things that he has. Um, so equality is everybody receiving the same thing. Like everybody might be allowed to go see this movie. Whereas equity is giving each person what they need to enjoy what they're allowed to have. So all of us can go to the movies, but I might need headphones to enjoy the movie like the next person. That don't mean give me special treatment. That means just allow me the same right to enjoy this because my brain is different. I can't enjoy this right that you have. So the on a basic level, I just need this accommodation so I can enjoy what you're able to enjoy easily without any accommodation. That's what equity is. So creating that in the world for my daughter has been the biggest thing. Like people just want to give her like the same thing as everybody else when she needs something different because of the way her brain functions. She didn't ask for that brain. She didn't even ask to be here. So I'll give an example.
So
When she went to a daycare, she uses items to stim. So she might suck on something or use a blanket to like rub on her face or whatever to calm down. And when I took her to the daycare, I'm like, why does she keep crying every time I pick her up? Y'all not even noticing she crying. What's the situation? I said, so did she ask for her items? And the teacher said, yeah, she asked for them, but we redirected her because nobody else got one. This is what she needs to be able to tolerate being in a building with people she doesn't know. They don't need an accommodation because their brain isn't different. Her brain is different from the typical human, and that's all she needs, and it's hers, and it's in her IEP. But you said you told her basically like go sit down because nobody else got that.
but that's so this sounds more like a lack of understanding and a lack of education
That's
because
the equity.
if
Yes,
yeah, if you got a file on me and it says that all right, this child, like you said, this child is different. This child has special needs, and they want you need something special. It's not just called
mm-hmm.
special needs because it ain't something special. Like this one doesn't need a blanket, but this one does. Like bubbles, I know the bubbles is a very big thing
Yes,
too. Like you have to make those, especially in a daycare. You can't have a daycare where you're supposed to read these files and know like this one can't have peanuts, this one can't have cheese. Like you got to know all of that
yes,
type of stuff. But that's more of a lack of awareness, which is why I'm doing these right now. This is the entire point
yeah.
that we're doing. This is to get the awareness out, to get people to understand. These, excuse me, these are the kind of conversations that people don't want to have.
But people think they
Everybody
do
will
know.
know.
That's the problem
Not
too.
even
People
they,
think
but
they do know. Well, that
it
daycare thought they
copy.
did. They said, "Oh, we got other autistic kids." Yeah, but one autistic person is one
But
autistic
one
person,
child, and that's why
literally.
that's why I do these episodes the way that I do them, where I let the floor be open to whoever the parent
Yeah.
is to say, you tell me what the story is because every story is going to be different.
Mm.
All right, last one that I'm gonna throw at you before we close this out. What would you say the biggest win has been with your daughter dealing with her autism?
Let me see. The biggest win is the fact that she got a diagnosis because it was like a guiding light. It was like we made it our own tool. We made it our own thing. We didn't decide she has a label, so we should feel shame. Like we used that label, and because she had that label, we decided with a label, it's kind of like a flashlight. Somebody knows you're there. If nobody knows that you have this thing and we have to treat this thing, they won't know what to throw at it if they don't know what it is. So that's why you have to get a label. So us like determining what the meaning was for us behind the label and using it as like the guiding light kind of thing. That's how we found our tribe. That's how we found the services. That's how we found what she needed to be well at home. That's how we was able to explain some of her behavior, like even to herself, and then accommodate her without knowing what it was. we was just going to be throwing stuff at the wall like I was at the beginning before the diagnosis. I'm like, what is this collective of issues that we can't identify? We can't help it because we don't know what to do. But once we got a label, it reeled everything in, and we were able to find out where my people at, where my resources at, what doctors we need to see, what we need to buy from the store. Like that's when everything came together. So the label was the win.
Copy that. All right. Before we close this one out, what do we need to know? What do we need to know is open floor. You tell us what we need to know. You tell people where they can get at you. You know, they need a little housing situation or anything. You let them know all about what they need to know.
Okay, so first and foremost, my nonprofit is Maximum Impact. And you can find maximum underscore impact on Instagram. And that's where you can connect with us and with our events and our resources and every and your tribe. We're your people over there. So that's the nonprofit for where we kind of nurture the people who nurture families where they're autistic individuals. So that's where you can find that. Um, Real estate rel is so many places you can find it, but mainly I'm on TikTok. So real estate dot rel is where you will find information about developing your business and creating LLCs, what licenses you need for different things, all of that. Because I'm all about community development. I've been in real estate for 15 years. I'm an award-winning paralegal, so I help people set their businesses up right, not fake Instagram guru, no shade, but that's what I'm doing. That's the community piece.
Copy that. Sis, love you.
I
That was
love you so
episode
much.
156. We are out.